Hi, and welcome to the Pall Shift News. Guys, it's like watching paint dry, waiting for some of these components to come. We've had a couple more come today. We've had the batteries come and a few more magnetometer chips, but not the ones we want. We are working on the problem in reprogramming the new magnetometer chips to do the same job. We're going to use a different laptop. That's the only way around it, because in order to do that, I've got to change the library program and tell it that there's a new address, but we still want to use the old library, unconverted one, to maintain our TriMag system. And at the same time, I'm also looking to obtain a large quantity of these magnetometers for the TriMag and the magnetosphere sensor. So putting that aside, I'm sure within the next couple of days we'll have the battery holders. We've got the batteries come today, and we'll have the other batch of old magnetometers come, so that we can finish off the other two remaining magnetometers that I've got to go out shortly in the coming weeks. But putting that aside, I thought I'd bring this to your attention, because this is something that we're going to start seeing a lot more of. Now, I know that aircraft manufacturers have overcome the problem of CCU strikes by subatomic particles, and we're going to be getting more subatomic particles come through our atmosphere if the magnetosphere continues to shrink, and it is, and if we remain in a grand solar minimum. We are, again, for that reason, going to be experiencing more subatomic particles coming through our solar system, because the heliosphere is shrinking all the time if the sun remains at a low level of output. So, as you can see in here, a neutron produced by a cosmic ray and travelling at nearly the speed of light strikes a military C-141B starlifter carrying over 100 troops at 37,000 feet over the Sea of Japan. Immediately the pilot notices something is wrong, very wrong. The plane's suddenly banking to the right and is in danger of going out of control. What is happening? Is it a single subatomic particle that is likely to have caused the problem? As you can read, it is. And what happens is it interferes with the silicon chips, and these silicon chips are in every electronic piece of equipment. But luckily for the avionics industry, they are usually back up with two other units to do the same job as, so that in total they have 3 units, and it gets outvoted with regards to this new program that they've introduced. So if it doesn't show up this error on all 3 circuits, then it gets outvoted basically. But we don't have this luxury with our mobile phones. We don't have this luxury with other things as well, like car sat navs and all the other technology that we rely on. And they are all subject to be interfered with by neutrons, which is what is subatomic particles decaying from cosmic radiation. We get a lot of this neutron rain coming down from the atmosphere, and especially if we've got a weakened magnetosphere and a weakened heliosphere as a result of the sun being in low production. So these things are going to become more frequent, and more so over the next 5 to 7 years, guys. It is of concern when you think about it. The risk that cosmic radiation alone poses to our modern day of life is a serious risk. If we look back at the Carrington event, just off the top of my head, I think it was like an X-flare of 20, I think it was, that set fire virtually to all the telephone lines. And that was the height of the technology at the time. This day and age, everything is dependent on microprocessors, computer boards, etc. Pretty much everything has silicon chips in it, and all of them are subject to damage by or interference by cosmic rays. And it just shows you how vulnerable our way of life is at this day and age, and even more so with the threat of emerging pole shift and a weakened solar cycle. It's not just the direct effects of cosmic radiation interfering with the electrical systems that we have on this earth. it's what it's also doing in terms of affecting the climate. Now, I recently talked about the region over the Antarctic, over the southern hemisphere of the Earth, and as you know, we've got an ozone hole which is shrinking. And the unusual thing about that shrinkage is that it should be, as the Arctic region has been colder over the last 4 years, it should be actually expanding. Now, I believe what the reason for that is because, you know, we have a weakened magnetosphere and we have a grand solar minimum taking place, and as a result of that, we are getting more cosmic radiation interact in that region, and it's interacting with the aerosols. These charged particles are sticking to the aerosols, and as a result of that, water is able to condense on them. It's called now cloud nuclei, and that then gets transported in the jet stream. So I think that's why our ozone layer over the Antarctic region is shrinking. And, you know, I also believe with more water ending up in the jet streams, I believe that's why we see, you know, in some aspects over 2 kilometres wide jet streams, and we have lost the natural subtropical and polar jet streams that formed individually on their own, and now we have like a conglomeration of subtropical and polar jet streams both over the northern hemisphere of the Earth and over the southern hemisphere. Now just imagine when these hot and cold airs collide carrying water vapour. Well, if it decides to move over the northern hemisphere and it takes that tropical humid temperature with it, and there is water in the atmosphere, as soon as it gets to, you know, a total precipitable amount, it's going to drop that water in that region, and you're going to get a lot more snow coverage. If it's the other way around and the polar winds are bringing that cold air down over the subtropical regions, you're going to get it dump it in water. And, you know, this poses lots and lots of other risks and threats. And, you know, it is alarming, guys, just to watch how fast now these changes are taking place on our planet. And, you know, it's largely down to cosmic radiation. And the reason why we're getting more cosmic radiation inbound in our atmosphere is because the magnetic poles are reversing, and as a result of that, the magnetosphere is, you know, reducing. And, you know, some organisations have come out and said it's around 15%. I think the truth of the matter is we're probably looking at around 20 to 25%. But the thing is, we are now monitoring this, and, you know, it'll be probably over a couple of years we'll be able to gauge how fast the magnetosphere is weakening. But the other thing is, we know it's going to weaken a lot more when that region over Canada, one of those high intensity regions, or one of those poles over the northern hemisphere, shrinks completely. We're going to see the magnetic compass move. And I'm worried about, if I'm right about some of the experiments that I've conducted with magnets going into the weak field lines, then at that point that could be the catalyst for the magnetic reversal on this planet to actually go into full swing. And, you know, this is what I want to say to you guys. Just imagine, right, whilst the magnetic pole for the last real 100 to 50 years ago has been migrating, we have seen, especially in the last 30 years, some dramatic changes with our climate as a result of that. So when things really pick up, what can we expect to see then? You know, when these poles go into the weak field lines and they go into their transition, what can we expect to see then when things really pick up? I think for a period of time, at least until they reverse completely, and that's if we do get a full reversal. And I've already explained why I feel that that might not be the case, because we are actually 500,000 years overdue another pole shift, and for some reason this one has been slower than all the others, and therefore you can't compare it with any of the pole shifts that we've had. But if it does take longer, that means we're going to be subject to more cosmic radiation and catastrophic weather systems and weather anomalies appearing pretty much anywhere on this planet at that given time, and that this could last for many, many years. So there's a lot of things, guys, that are gearing up, and I've said it before, you know, they are at our front door. And that's why we've taken the initiative on this channel to no longer concentrate our efforts from the UK, but to focus on other countries of interest, especially where these high intensity regions are, and actually monitor the movement of these high intensity regions and gauge how fast they are moving, and then perhaps we can forecast what we've got to expect in the coming future. But more so to give us a heads up of when we do approach that time where things do start to speed up, and perhaps that will be when we go into those weak third lines with regards to the poles flipping at that point. So our work, guys, is far from over. In fact, it's just really starting to get going, guys. When we're starting to compile all the data from the magnetometers when they reach their new locations, we will be then compiling data off 8 individual units. That's the trimag, the magnetosphere sensor, and also these magnetometers that are going to go into their new locations. So it's a lot of work that's coming up for me, guys, and I need the support from you guys. We manage on a very small budget, but look at what we're doing at the moment. We've got an international observatory merging now from crowdfunding, but it needs to continue, and if we can keep the funding going, we can keep doing what we do here. That's collecting the data, analysing it, processing it, and relaying it back to you guys, because there isn't another observatory the same as ours doing the same as what we're doing here on YouTube and on the website Pole Shift News. And at the end of the day, the data is collected honestly. There is no corporate sponsorship for this channel. It is completely crowdfunded by you guys, and I just hope that you guys continue to support it and realise that there's a lot of work coming up for me here at the observatory, especially when these reach their new locations with regards to that. So if you want to help support us, guys, the PayPal link's down there in the description, and the Patreon link is there also. And I'll say what I usually do, guys. The weekend's coming. You have a great weekend with your family, and I'll see you, if not on the weekend, perhaps Monday or so. Hopefully by then we'll have the rest of the equipment. We'll do a little bit of a video showing all these magnetometers working, collecting the data, and we'll be selecting some new homes for them hopefully by next week. So guys, have a great weekend. Links down there if you want to support us, and as always, bye for now.